Hello, we are live today, and you're welcome to this Monday Live with Chama Okoli. So, how has it been? How has the holiday been with you and your young ones? Okay. Has it been what you feared? Has it been um what's what has the experience been like? Is it what has it been the same thing with your holidays in the past where you're wishing there isn't anything like holidays so that your child have to be in school all day and all week and all months long so that you can breathe some fresh air and do one or two with your life. Okay, so I'm interested. I'd love to know what it is, what it has been like for you. If you're opportunity to join me live, you can drop your gist of how it has been in the comment section. I'll definitely go to respond to that. But even if you're catching this as a replay later on, you can also do that. I mean, I'll definitely respond to you. Okay, all right. So I bet it is just courtesy that I should tell you how it's been on my own end. Well, it's been what I look forward to. I mean, I stopped being afraid of holidays some 2 years ago because 2 years ago it was just one child, my son. But then, if you've been listening to me, my son is a whole lot. He's a full hand. So he's that boy that wants to be everywhere. He's that boy that, you know, there's never a dull moment around him. So you need to be really prepared to have him around during holidays. And, you know, in all honesty, I started having palpitations during towards the close of a term. Once they start the exam, it's like my heart will start racing faster because I know what's coming. I know what's coming. But then at some point I feel like, for how long will you do this? This is just one child. I mean, so I started taking hold of the holidays in my home. And I can tell you that it's the holidays are the most peaceful periods in my house, really, because for me, I, I'm not a an early morning breakfast person, so I really don't like being in the kitchen in the morning. And holidays offers me that opportunity because all of us we don't eat until maybe around 9, 10, and then even around that 9, 10, if I'm the one that is going to make breakfast, we are doing it calm. Nobody is in a hurry to make breakfast so that this person will eat and be in school within a scheduled period of time and all of that and all of that. So holidays are really moments that I look forward to in my house. In all honesty, I look forward to it. And I'm sure my daughter also looks forward to it because it's a time of, you know, unending play with the brother and all of that. Okay. So if you're watching this, I want to believe that you also want to have your holidays differently going forward. And hey, you're welcome. Today we are talking about 5 routines. 5 routines you can start creating in your home for your child and with your child. I always say that for those of us who have children within the ages of 0 to 6, when you're opportune to hear about parenting, open your ears wide. In fact, it's not when you're opportune. You should be in a system where you hear about parenting every day. Every day, not once in a month, not once in a week. Why? Your child is growing every day, for crying out loud. Yes, your child is growing every day. Some windows of opportunity to teach a particular thing is opening every day. Some are closing the next day. I don't want to start, trying to first open a window that has closed, because it's not the same ease with which you teach when the window is still open that you teach when you forced the window open. It's not the same. So if you're a parent um who who has children within the ages of 0 to 6, you're very privileged to hear about parenting. Not many of our parents or parents with older children really had the opportunity. And like I said, you shouldn't just be in a space where you hear about parenting once in a while. You should be in a space where you hear about parenting every day. Okay, because your child is growing every day, and there are definitely things that are best done as those windows are opening. Okay, all right. So somebody joined us. You're welcome. Kindly say hello in the comment section. Let's know who it is that is on board with us. Okay, all right. So as an introduction, I like to say this: holidays are opportunities for you to observe your child and compare what you have against what you want. I'll say that again. Holidays are opportunities for you to observe your child, compare what you have and what it is that you want. Okay, so if you want a child who is empathic, you want a child who can who expresses his emotions when he's angry, when he's frustrated. You want a child whose outlet of emotion is not aggressive, is not violent. That's noble. However, the holiday period is an opportunity for you to observe that to your child and note if the things your child is displaying are actually the things you want. And if they are not that, holidays are opportunities for you to do all the work you have to do. You know, when Jesus said in one of his parables that a time is coming when you cannot walk, but now is day. So let's do all the work. It's the same thing, it's the same opportunity that holidays present. Yes, parenting is a day-long thing, whether school is in section or the holiday is on. Holidays are a special moment where you should actually focus on understanding what is going wrong and trying to return your child to the right path. Okay. I see a lot of people. I was having a conversation with somebody this morning, and he was telling me how a particular child of a celebrity didn't behave well when the child of this celebrity was, interacting with another top person or another celebrity. And this person said that he expects that the parents of this child has or have sent him to the best of schools, and that he expects him to have learned from school how to interact with people. I said, no, no, that's the mistake we make. We often feel that schools are the people or are the places where our children should learn how to behave, but that's not true. That's part of the mistakes that most of our parents made. And so they felt, I've sent you to school, so you should figure it out. Or if anything happens, you see a parent picking a phone and calling the child, why is my child behaving like this? Blah, blah, blah. We are getting it wrong. Are schools important? Very important. Should schools teach our children how to behave? Yes and no. Yes, they should reinforce on what we've started in the homes. But no, not that we'll do rubbish at home and expect schools to do miracles. I think that's where we get it wrong most of the times. We expect that just paying um, heavy amounts of money as termly fees or as fees for a section, it's like a seal that schools give me an angel, give me a saint at the end of the session, at the end of the day. It doesn't work that way. And we just need to get this consciousness. We just need to get this knowledge that schools don't do magic, right? They work on what we've established at home. So holidays are good moments for you to observe your child and check what isn't going right and see where you can start redirecting your child, where you can start laying a different foundation from what that child has picked from school and working on from there. All right. So what are the things? What are these 5 routines? Number one, I'd like us to understand that routines are things that routines are things that are done again and again, such that they become ingrained in the consciousness of everyone who is involved. So, for instance, in my house, once it's getting late, right? My son will tell you, Mommy, is getting night. That is getting night means the next thing we tell you is if he is still if you're still outside, maybe doing something, or they're still outside playing, he'll tell you, Mommy, it's getting late, abi it's getting night. Let's go inside and make pap. That's because most times what they eat for dinner is pap, or let's go inside and take our baths. Why? Because our night routines includes that you take your baths. Sometimes he would want to make his prepare his pap by himself. So he knows that he will take his baths, make his pap, eat, brush his teeth, journal, pray, and that's it. Any other thing you're doing after praying, right? That is not lying down and sleep, you're on your own. So that routine has been ingrained in his consciousness such that even when I am doing something else, or when I am not around and they are with their auntie, they know to tell their auntie that it is time to go and start preparing to go to bed. So routines are things that have been done again and again, such that even your child you feel doesn't like to sleep, that your child you feel is always disturbing, that your child you feel, I don't know what it is you're feeling about your child anyway, but that your child you feel finds it difficult to sleep, it's just because of difficult to follow what it is you want the child to do. It could be because this child hasn't had enough cues, or hasn't had enough opportunities to actually know that, okay, this is how mommy wants me to do this, or this is how daddy wants me to do this. Okay, so routines are things that have been done again and again, such that even you and your child knows that at this particular time, this is what we are supposed to be doing. And it's a wonderful place to be in your house. I tell you, whether during holidays and outside of holidays, it makes discipline and organization in the home easy and simple, because you don't really have to think so much. So for a start, you can actually have it drafted in a book. When we started out, it was written somewhere. And then over after practicing it for days and for weeks and for months, we really don't need to look at that book, at that chart anymore. So you can sit down, um, you and your spouse first, and then you communicate it to any other adult that is in your house, or any other person who is helping you out in your house. Okay, but then it needs to be something that you and your spouse agrees on, or agree on, so that you're not doing one and your spouse is doing the other because he or she wasn't carried along, or because he or she feels what you're doing doesn't make sense. Okay, I understand that the society has made parenting look like a mother's thing, but that's not true. Okay? If you see children whose both parents were involved in their upbringing, the difference is always clear. The difference is always clear. So while I understand that men are often burdened with the responsibility of providing for the family and all of that and all of that, and most times they can be away from the family for several hours, and when they return they are tired, the children may have gone to sleep and all of that, and so their time with the children is reduced. And if you're a father listening to me, please, you need to see how you can rearrange your time, right? I'm not asking you to stop providing for your family. It's it's a wonderful job you are doing providing for your family. However, right, your children are also important, and they're not going to have any other father outside of you. And actually, nobody can be a father to your children better than you. Okay? So it's actually going to be a beautiful thing that you rearrange whatever it is that is keeping you away from the house, such that by the time you come back, the children have gone to bed and your time with them is very limited. Okay? Those children want a fatherly figure, want a fatherly presence. There is a stability in emotion, in confidence that the presence of a father gives to children. Mothers cannot bring that level of confidence and stability. That's just the truth. I'm a mother, an involved one at that, but I'm telling you that we don't bring that kind of stability, emotional stability, not just emotional stability in all fronts, and confidence. Mothers don't have that giving. It's something for fathers. And that's why children who lack the presence of a father, right? Or children who have a father who was never involved, who is just there, and you know, there's a difference when the two stands out, you know. And so if you're a father listening to me, please do your child or your children the honor of your presence and active participation. It's not just about presence, it's about what you do with them when you're around. It counts. They are picking cues from you. In fact, exactly a week today, my son was carrying his sister's bag, and he was carrying it in a manner, the exact manner that my husband used to carry his bag. And so I looked at my son, and he saw I was looking at him. We both smiled. And I told him, "What are you doing?" He didn't say anything. He smiled. I said, "You're carrying the bag like your daddy used to carry." And he said, "Yes." Effortlessly. I'm sure my husband never took time to teach him how to carry bag. He just was picking it up. And if you see the confidence with which he was marching on with that bag, I'm sure that if I told him that that's not how to carry a bag, he would tell me that it's not true. That's when he would now tell me that's how my daddy carries my bag. And one thing, fathers, I really don't want your children to pick up is the idea that their mothers is on a different planet, or that their mothers have a different idea about how things are done. For boys, that's one of the early ways that you give them the impression that women are not really, they are not people to be trusted. You know how we say it, women are emotional beings, so not to rate them or something like that. Sometimes we start giving them the software for this mentality when they are small, and we don't even know it. So fathers, please, in this holiday, be available. And the routines we are talking about, please see how you fit into at least, in fact, as much, let me not say at least, see how you fit into all of them. See how you fit into all of them during the holiday and even after the holiday. All right. Like I said last week, don't be that father whose presence or whose involvement when your children grows old will be repaid with schnapps, right? And your wife is getting all of the wonderful gifts because she was available. Hey, so please be available too, all right? In the much that you can. I understand that in the early years, there are lots that fathers are also trying to put into perspective, but please still be available, right? Let your son know that each time I'm going to bed, it's daddy that is going to sing lullaby to me, or it's daddy that is going to pray with me. Or let your child know that each time I'm waking up in the morning, it's daddy that is singing some songs, some nice songs into my ears. Daddy that is coming to wake me up. Is let your child have one constant thing they can say that this is for my daddy. This is what my daddy will do on a daily basis. It's really important. All right. So the first routine on the list is sleep. Sleep and wake time routine. Now, um, as parents or as a parent with young children, okay, one of the things you want to really be serious about is your child's sleep pattern. There are different sleep hours required for different age grades, but for 0 to 6 you would have at maximum 10 to 12 hours. Okay, it's the period of hours reduces as the child grows older. So you want to be sure that your child sleeps at least 10 hours if your child is within this age range. And do you know the beautiful I won't go into the psychology, I mean the physiology of sleep on the brain, but suffice it for me to say that when a child doesn't get enough sleep, that child becomes irritated, that child becomes grumpy. Let's not even talk about a child. You as an adult, when you don't sleep well, how do you feel? You feel easily frustrated, you feel overly irritated. Sometimes you have headache, sometimes you're just dull, sometimes your brain is just not, it's not just your head will not be correct. If I tell my people my head is not correct, they understand that I need some space to sleep. So as an adult, when you don't sleep well, your head won't be correct, guy. You need to go and sleep. So how much more a child? It's the same brain. And even more important because their own brain is still developing. So we need to be sure that your child gets enough sleep. So I know that there used to be a time when I'll be praying, hey, let these children go to sleep early today. Me, I'm tired. Let these children go to sleep today. I'm praying for my own children to go to sleep. Can you imagine that? I hope you're not still praying like I used to. But even if you are, thank God you're here, right? Your child can actually start sleeping at a particular time if you curate the environment for it. So you can say that in my house, sleep time for the children is 8 p.m. All right. We've done it again and again, and we've all gotten the memo, except for some days where something unusual happened, like somebody was sick, and so had to spend more time nursing the sick one, or we're out of the house. And most times, as they are coming in, you're carrying them because they've left you in the journey and slept off. Okay. But aside that, 95% of the times, all of us know that 8 p.m. you're supposed to be lying down sleeping. And for my older son, he has gotten so used to it that sometimes even if you don't give him food around that period, right? You see him lying down and you see that he has slept off. By the time you come to do one or two, he has slept off. So we now know to rearrange. So once it is 6:30, we'll start doing all of the series of things that will eventually lead them into sleeping by 8 p.m. And if you know that by 8 p.m. your child has gone to bed or your children has gone to sleep, you can plan yourself. Even if you go to bed by 10, you know that I have 2 hours to do one or two assignments, catch up with one or two things, read one or two books, do one or two drafts or anything, or brainstorm or anything. Okay. Now, for us to get them to sleep by 8 p.m., it means that they should not have siesta beyond 1 p.m. So if you want to sleep in the afternoon, you'd better start sleeping by 11 a.m. Yes, because they wake up latest 6:30. That's for my daughter. But during school hours, during school period, my son wakes up by 6 a.m. And even up until now that school is on holiday, he still wakes by 6 a.m. So if he wants to sleep, you start by 11:30, and by 1:30, at most 2 p.m., siesta is over. So if for any reason you don't sleep within that period, you carry it over until maybe 7:30, maybe 7, but definitely not anything beyond 8 p.m. So I think that should give us an idea of how to set our own sleep time and wake time routine. Of course, I have 3 children. My last is will be 6 months tomorrow. Yes, of course, he's exempted from this routine because he's still trying to. Of course, he sleeps more hours. His sleep routine is longer hours. Should be around 15 to 16 hours for him. Okay, so his sleep pattern is different, but most times he sleeps around 7, 8. Okay, he too sleeps around 7, 8, and then you may need to breastfeed around 10 p.m. and all of that. But then definitely I can track his sleep pattern. Okay. All right. So if you have younger children less than 1 year, their routine may be different, but definitely it's something you can track if there is a routine in place. Okay. Then another thing you want to do is for those of us that still allow our children have unlimited access to screens like television and phones. The night period is not the period you expose a child to screen for any reason. For any as long as that child's life is not dependent on that screen, right? A child should have no business. Even you as an adult, I don't know for you, I don't know for most person, but I don't know for everyone, but for most persons, screens are somewhat distractive. They excite the brain. So when you see a movie when just before you go to bed, for most persons, you find it difficult to now close your eyes and sleep. So most times you may not have to scroll online, try to read or do one or two things so that your brain can calm down and possibly you sleep off. So please do not put your child to the screen 2 hours before sleep. It's not gonna do them any good. If I to prolong the sleep period. Okay. Now let's go to the next routine, and this is meal time and meal place. So I realized that one of the struggles that we used to have with my son was feeding him. You brush him, you bathe him, you dress him up, you feed him, and then you pack the lunch box and you go to take him to school. So I think it was last year, August. I was telling my niece who used to prepare for school, say, and I was like, hey, you're doing something wrong here. You cannot wake him from sleep, brush him. I can't remember if it's last year, August, or the previous that is August of 2020. But I shall know it's around August when he was about to turn 3 or 4. He turned 4 last year. Okay. I think it was when he turned 3. So I told, because he started, my first son started school earlier, around 15 months. And we made a decision that that will be the last, based on increased knowledge anyway. So every of our children going forward, you're going to clock 3 before you go to school. All right. So I was like, no, we cannot be doing all of these things for him. He's going to school. He's supposed to learn. We're not going to learn for him. So we need to start giving him opportunity to actually learn how to do some things from the house. As I realized that one of the things that actually makes school preparations difficult for my niece, who was staying with me at that time and who usually prepares him for school, was that she finds it difficult to feed him. So I was like, allow him to feed himself. And we started working towards that. So every day, every morning, I will, before he's done dressing up, his food is on the dining table. And we made it a constant. You eat on the dining table. If any adults want to eat, you eat on the dining. And it didn't take time before he learned that. Nobody is going to have to teach my daughter because she has already gotten the memo. You eat on the dining table. So it became a constant. Once you come out from the bedroom, you go wear your clothes, then you come and eat your food. And even outside of praying for schools, I noticed that as a parent, you are stressed already. You go through, there are so many stresses in your environment, both outside of parenting, and then you really want all of the help you can get. And then when it comes to feeding, and your child is actually as old as 2, that child can feed himself or herself. The only thing is that it may take longer period, and the child will mess him or herself up or the table, which is okay. The food that is wasting is the child's school fees. It's the school fees that the child is paying to learn how to feed. But the child shall needs that hand-mouth motor coordination. Yes. The child needs that hand-mouth motor coordination. There are brain activities going on with the child learning to feed him or herself. And you don't know all of the neural connectivities and activities that is going on in the child's brain, which is in the child's best interest. So all of the time you're doing, open your mouth, yeah, yeah, yeah. Allow the child to feed himself. They can actually do that. So my daughter will be 3, but she started since she was 2. So Sunday mornings before we go to church, they eat. Nobody feeds her. Every other day in the morning, nobody feeds her. In the afternoon, in the evening. One of the things we used to know that my daughter is actually not hungry is that you give her food and she will not eat. And once she tells you I want to eat and you give her food and you know automatically that she's not hungry. It's not that she cannot feed herself, she's just not hungry. And we know to tell her to cover the food. Okay. So you want to, have a meal time and meal place routine that is followed. You cannot expect your child to eat at the dining table and then when you want to eat your own, you carry it to your bedroom. No, now there is no justification for that child. Children at this age are not people you say, I'm not feeling all right. I'm tired. I want to eat in my room. But you must have to eat on the dining table. Now lie. The moment you're entering your room, or let's even say you're eating at different times, but it means that that child's next meal, the child wants to carry the food to anywhere they like. And please don't hit the child. Don't even bother to yell. The child is simply following your model. And if you want the child to stop eating in the room or any other place, then you just should start eating where you want the child to eat. And teach the child how to clean up after eating. Okay? All right. So the next routine is acceptable behavior, acceptable way of behavior. Okay, so During school session, children pick up a lot of attitudes from their classmates, from people in the environment, and all of that, and all of that. And we really do not blame the child. They are still growing up and trying to learn. But during holidays, right, you should look into the behaviors that are not acceptable and please work on changing it, right? Work on getting your child through that behavior to a better one. Let's not be leaving all of these things to schools. The schools are the class teachers already have their own things they are dealing with, and most times these class teachers are also parents who are also trying to figure out how to deal with their own children. And then you bring your own child and expect magic. It won't happen. Sorry to bust your bubble, but it's not going to happen. Okay. So what what way of behavior is acceptable in your home? So in the royalty conclave, the section that we're starting next month, one of the assignments that parents are going to do is, who do you want to raise? Right? Who do you want to raise, and what is the pathway to doing that? So those that are already registered for the royalty conclave, anyway, you don't have the full assignment, so it's not like I'm giving you expo to go and start doing your work. But don't worry, those that will be there, you have enough time to do the job. But what I'm trying to achieve with that assignment when we start next month is, I'm trying to get us to think beyond the age our children are right now. Like I said, my third child is 6, will be 6 months tomorrow. But it will be foolishness for me to just remain at the point where he's 6 years, he's 6 months, so nothing. Is just give him food, give him a space to practice to crawl, and that's and everybody's good. I can press my phone, right? We need to see beyond the age our children are in right now, so that by the time they are stepping into those ages, or by the time they are stepping higher, we've been ready since yesterday for them. So my children cannot become adolescents tomorrow. And I'm like, hey, how do I do this one? How do I discuss how do I discuss handling money with them? How do I discuss boundaries? How do I discuss not to have sex with the opposite sex? How do I discuss not joining the LGBT community? How do I discuss? How do I discuss? No. In fact, I am already ready. The knowledge I have, I am already ready for my children to become adolescents right now. You know the advantage that has for me? I have all of the time to think ahead. I have all of the time to put things into perspective. I have all of the time to read all of the books I need to read all of the researches I need to read. And, you know, I am ready for them. So that's the same thing I want us to do. So in the reality conclave that we're starting next month, right? You're going to look at your that child you have or those children you have and see them beyond the age they are in right now. Because they're not going to remain like this. The one that is 6, that will be 6 months tomorrow. Was it not like yesterday that I gave birth to him? Last year, October. Today he's 6. In the next 6 months, he'll be 1 year. And by this time, October next year, he'll be 2. And so the ages start adding. What is our knowledge adding also? How are we preparing for their tomorrow? Aside paying school fees, aside giving them the life we feel they deserve, what other preparations are we making for them? See, right? The world is moving at a speed that we cannot even imagine. And it is not for us to be afraid. The world is moving. Whether you're afraid or you're not afraid, the world is moving. The revolutions are taking place. Things are changing. All of us, many people are crying. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting poorer. Blah 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 blah. Nothing is going to change. All of those outcries are not going to change. In fact, I was reading a book recently, and the book said that one of the worst wars to fight is the war against irrelevance. When I read that, right, I had to take a deep breath, close the book, go and take some water and come back. The worst war to fight is the war against irrelevance. I hope you're not going to become irrelevant in 10, 20 years' time. Both in the grand scheme of life, in your parenting, and The children you're raising, I hope they're not going to become irrelevant in any sense of it. Guys, parenting is serious job. It's serious business, right? It is as serious as anything you deem serious. And we should we should approach it with this knowledge because it will help us to really know that there is something at stake and we need to move really fast. Okay? I was talking about acceptable behavior. Yes, your child should know what behavior is acceptable in the house. So, some days ago, I told my daughter something, and I think she said, I can't remember how she said the thing she said, but then my son said, "That's not how kings talk." I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. My daughter said, "Okay, I'm sorry." That's there's a way my daughter's voice sounds like it's funny. It's really funny in those moments. But my son was able to say, "That's not how kings talk." And that got to the sister and she apologized immediately. I was like, I did like this to myself. Yeah. Then I said, okay, mama. So there is a mindset your children should carry. We need to start raising young people who know that they are not here to be entertained. They are here to live, they are here to live out a purpose in life. They are not here to sit and watch. They are here to take their place on the stage of life and act. Right? They are not here to enjoy life. They are not here to clap at people and say, yes, that's it. As you're clapping and saying yes, the next turn is becoming you so that you can do, and then we'll clap at you and do like this. We need to stop giving children the impression that they are consumers. Can we start, putting into our children that you're producers? I was speaking with my son recently. I was reading something and then he came, brought his own. He said, "Mommy, I'm reading." I said, "Yes, it's good to read so that you can become a writer." He said, "Yes, I want to be a writer." And all of the chit chats we had around that. You need to give your children from very early the software that you are not, guy, you're not here to consume, you're here to produce. Yeah. It's high time we start doing that. And like I said, those of us who have children that are young, we are at an advantage. But our advantage is only an advantage if we put it to work. If you're just there like this and you're not doing anything, then you're not doing the job you should do. Okay? All right. So the next one is gist moment. The next routine is gist moment. If you've been following me on Facebook, one of the things I share is that when your child comes back from school, please make that child feel like a king that just stepped into his kingdom. Welcome your child very well. Ask how was school today. Ask, is there something you want us to talk about? In those short moments, right? You give your child the impression that mommy or daddy is here for me. Whatever it is that happens in school, I can always share with mommy or daddy. And it's a good place to be, right? I can't tell you how many teachable moments that this asking these questions has yielded for me and my child. And so you need to have a gist moment, a routine gist moment where you can just say, or sometimes when I go out and come in, I'm like, so tell me what happened while I was away. How was your day? Is there something you want to tell me about? Something like that. As long as your child is 2 years and above, right? You can actually ask this question. If your 2-year-old cannot say things you understand, be like, did you eat when I was away? Did you enjoy your food? Did it taste nice? Ask those questions and give short explanations so that tomorrow, when you now ask how was the day, your child will now know what to tell you. Now, if you have a child who is less than 2 years, just looking into that child's face, smile and say, "How are you?" Like my 6 months old, when he's sometimes when there is loud noise in the environment, he cries. Okay. So one of the things that my gisting with him often is that there is a name I will call him, even in those distressed moments. It makes him realize that, oh, I can be safe. I am safe. Just that name. Just that name. And then there's this song that I used to sing, this lullaby that I used to sing for the siblings very well when I was still pregnant with him. Each time I sing that lullaby, right? Lullaby is Njenjele Obinwa Njenje. Each time I sing that for him, right? He calms down, even in his troubled moments. Of course, when you're pregnant from I think from 18 months, I think from 18 weeks, I can't remember exactly, 16 or 8 from 16 or 18 weeks, the songs you listen to, your child also listens to it because their hearing apparatus are being developed by that period. So because I sang that song for a long while I was pregnant with him, if you sing it, he knows to. So gist moments for your very young child, have sets of words you repeat, with certain facial expressions. It gives them, it calms them down. It lets them know, oh, I'm safe. I can trust this voice. I can, you know, all of that. So the next one is self-regulation routine. So in of course, a child less than, especially those less than 3 years, their self-regulation is poor, emotional regulation is poor. Depending on what the child has picked up from the environment, sometimes they can be aggressive, sometimes they throw unending tantrum or frequent tantrums and all of that. And even those from 3 to 6 years, sometimes they just want your attention, and sometimes they're just emotionally overwhelmed and they don't know what to do and all of that. So recently in my house, if you cry for more than 5 minutes for no justifiable reason, you I'll carry you to your room, right? And you lie down on your bed and think about why you're crying. Hmm. You cry for more than 5 minutes for no justifiable reason. No way a child is hungry, right? And that child is saying that usually we usually don't even do that. Of course, we usually don't do that. I don't allow my children to start crying before I grant a request. Because if you wait for the child to start crying before you grant a request, you're rewarding that cry. So the child feels, if I cry now, mommy or daddy will stand up and do what I'm. So the child will now learn to cry when they need something. So we don't allow them to cry. Once they ask for something like something we can give or something we should give, we grant it immediately. Okay. So if you cry for more than 5 minutes, I think I should even reduce this to 2 minutes because 5 minutes is such a long period. But if you cry for more than 5 minutes or too frequent, personally, I will stand up. Whatever I'm doing, I will leave it, carry you to your room. I won't lock the door will be open. I'll tell you, you know what? I think you need some time to cool off. Go lie down. You lie down there and think about why you've been crying. And oftentimes, because they don't want to be away from the rest of the people, they try to fix whatever thing that is going on. Then when they come out, we talk. That is me teaching them self-regulation, emotional regulation. Or sometimes when you want to hit the next person, or sometimes they are playing and one person wants to pinches the other person. When you now come out, then the two of you should discuss whatever it is that and make it up to each other. Okay. You see children who fight in schools, you see siblings who fight and even grow up into adulthood with serious sibling rivalry or sibling quarrel. It's because they were not taught how to regulate self. It's because they were not taught how to regulate self. And so this holiday is a good moment for you to start it. Yeah, this holiday is a good moment for you to start it. Okay, so these are the 5 routines you should teach your child in this holiday period. And if you enjoyed what you heard here and you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And yes, this is a free video. It's a free video, so you can share to other parents who you feel need to listen to this. Yeah, you can share the video link to them. And then um I mentioned the royalty conclave. The royalty conclave is a gathering of parents who want to raise their children in the way of royalty. Like I always say, the way of royalty is not given to anyhow. There is a pattern, right? There is a way to do things. So if you're that parent who is keen on, you know, doing raising children who will thrive, children who will rule in their kingdoms and not slaves, then you want to get into the royalty conclave. It's an annual program, okay, but then we'll have to break it into quarterly um program so that the payments can be easy for people and those who more people can come in. Okay, once to make it a full 1 year thing means that if you don't enter before a particular time, you have to wait till next year. All right. So, but for now, we are doing it a quarterly program. So this next group is going to start in May and it will run till August. So it's a 4 months long parent coaching program for parents who have children within the ages of 0 to 6. Actually, parents who have children beyond 6 years can also benefit from it, but I'm choosing 0 to 6 for a reason. I want us to lay the foundations that should be laid. Let's not leave our children to chances. They are too important to wait until when things have gone wrong. Do you know the statistics of children who sexually molested before they turn 6? A recent study say that 8 out of 10 children have witnessed sexual abuse slash molestation. 8 out of 10. Isn't that high? Isn't that high? Are we now talking about, well, okay, so if this is you who wants to raise children that will thrive, then the royalty conclave is for you. Just 20,000 for the 4 months. That's like 5,000 naira every month. That's too cheap to receive the daily voice notes, the weekly webinar, the monthly book reviews, and all of that. Okay, and much more. A free journaling guide, and I mean, come on, it's too cheap. You're definitely not going to get it this cheap anywhere. I already checked. Okay, so if this is you, I'm going to drop the link to the Royalty Conclave in the comment section. And if you're watching this as and you're not in the Breathe and Relax Bootcamp for parents with children, for parents with children 0 to 6 years, I'm going to also drop the WhatsApp group. Now, the advantage is that we're going to do a video upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But the advantage of being in that group is that the other voice notes and the other um, community engagements you're going to have, you're going to miss it if you're just viewing from YouTube. But if you're in the WhatsApp community, you get all of these perks, you get all of this community conversation and all of that. And so, thank you so much for listening up to this moment. And like I said, if you like what you've heard and you're yet to subscribe, please kindly do subscribe, do like the video, and of course, you can share with parents who you want to listen to what it is we've discussed here. If you have any question, please do where to drop in the comment section, and then let's take the conversation to the community for those of us in the WhatsApp group already. Once again, I am Choma Okoli and I'm the founder of the Expectant Parent Academy. Thank you so much for joining me. And yes, let's raise royalties together because our children are royalties. And we can't raise royalties if you are not one. So the way to raising royalties is to becoming a royalty yourself. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And do have an amazing, amazing day and week ahead.